Yeah, you already know Todd Monken is loving this. Todd Monken is loving the dual threat ability that Shedeur Sanders has appeared to add to his game this season. We got to get into it. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit that bell notification, hype the video. That'd be greatly appreciated. As always, let's get right into things. So this is courtesy of market.com, and we got video to get into here. It says Shedeur Sanders is still pushing to make the Cleveland Browns QB battle uncomfortable for Deshaun Watson, but his latest offseason work has drawn a blunt reminder of the challenge ahead. Sanders has been trying to show the Browns he can be more than a developmental passer after an uneven rookie season.
Nobody saw this coming. Not the Cleveland media, not the national NFL analysts, and definitely not the people who spent the last year writing Shedeur Sanders off, because something just happened that changed the entire conversation. Todd Monken, the same coach brought in to fix a broken offense, just said something about Shedeur that nobody expected, and it's already sending shockwaves through Cleveland. But what happened next exposed a gap between old school scouting and new school football, and it's bigger than anyone wants to admit.
Shedeur Sanders has been expounded upon. Here in this quote, it says, Todd Monken said, I said this morning that 15 or 20 years ago, they would have said that Shedeur Sanders was athletic. They would have said he could escape. Well, games changed so much now he's not a mobile quarterback. No, Sanders is a mobile quarterback. He's not as mobile if we've come to where Lamar Jackson or the quickness that these players have, their escapability is completely changed from when it was. But you see the work Shedeur Sanders is putting in right here, and Todd Monken is loving this. You see Shedeur Sanders working on being more mobile, more agile, having more escapability out the pocket.
Let's set the scene. Shedeur Sanders, rookie season, Browns quarterback room. A city that has chewed up and spit out more quarterbacks than any franchise in football. The story on Shedeur has been the same for months. Not athletic enough, not mobile enough, a pocket passer in a league that's leaving pocket passers behind. Then Todd Monken opened his mouth and the narrative started cracking. Monken said it himself. 15, 20 years ago, people would have called Shedeur athletic. They would have said he could escape pressure. But here's where things get crazy. Monken says the game changed. The bar moved. Guys like Lamar Jackson reset what mobile even means. So by comparison, Shedeur got labeled a statue. That's the story that stuck. That's the story that spread. But here's what the loudest critics conveniently left out. While the outside noise was calling him limited, Shedeur was in the building, grinding, building something. Reports out of Cleveland say he's been putting in real work on his mobility, more escapability, more agility in the pocket, more reps extending plays instead of just standing in the pocket and taking the hit. In Todd Monken, the guy who runs an offense built on movement and improvisation, he's loving it. Now, pay attention to this. A coach who wants dual threat ability, watching his young quarterback actually at it in real time. That's not a small thing. That's a coach getting exactly what he asked for. Here's where the media's argument completely falls apart. For a full year, the story was Shedeur can't move like the new school quarterbacks. Fine, let's say that was true in year one. So what happens when a guy hears that criticism and goes to work on it? In most sports conversations, that's called growth. That's called a young player answering his doubters. But watch how fast the conversation shifts when it's Shedeur. Suddenly, it's silence, or it's minimized, or it's buried under a headline about something else entirely. That's not analysis. That's an agenda.
Yeah, I mean, you win 5 games, it's a bad season. You won 5 games, was it last year, and it wasn't good enough. That's what they told everybody by firing Kevin Stefanski, and they're right. It wasn't good enough. They should have won more games, so you can't do that again. You can't go back to just winning 5 games. Would 8 be cool? 8 would be okay. 7 would be fine. But the biggest thing for me is that they need to compete. The Browns need to compete. The offense needs to look like an NFL offense. I'm not saying it has to be the greatest show on turf, but it can't be scoring 16 points a game.
Let's compare this to how the league treats other young quarterbacks. When a rookie shows flashes of added mobility, the league throws around words like dynamic and special. Highlight packages get built. National shows run the clips on loop. Shedeur puts in that same work, adding an element to his game that his own offensive coordinator specifically wants, and it barely makes a ripple outside of Cleveland. That's not even the most shocking part. The same voices who said he needed to be more mobile are the ones staying quiet now that he's doing it. You can't have it both ways. Now, here's the part people are sleeping on. Monken didn't just talk about Shedeur's mobility, he laid out his entire standard for this Browns season. 5 wins? Unacceptable. That's the same record that got Kevin Stefanski fired. 7 or 8 wins? Fine, but nothing to celebrate. The real demand? Compete. Look like an actual NFL offense. Stop beating yourself with penalties and busted plays, what Monken bluntly called the bleepy football that plagued this team. Translation? No more excuses. And that standard doesn't just apply to the coaching staff, it applies to the quarterback room too, because the numbers tell a completely different story than the outside narrative. A team that scored 16 points a game isn't getting a pass again. Monken said it plainly. This offense can't be the greatest show on turf, but it also can't be an embarrassment. That means every ounce of added ability from this quarterback room matters. Every extra broken tackle, every extended play, every scramble for a first down. Shedeur adding mobility isn't a side note. It's part of the exact formula Monken needs to hit his own bar for success.
I guess my first expectation for Todd Monken is to have the Browns more disciplined, and to cut out the bleepy football, as he called it, because we did see a lot of that at times, and that just makes it hard. It's hard to be successful when you're starting off 1st and 15 or 1st and 20 because you did something dumb on first down to get a penalty, or if you have a long 65-yard run touchdown and it's called back for holding, behind the line of scrimmage or whatever, they got to cut that out. If they cut that out, I think just automatically they should be better, but that's my expectation for him.
And what happened next left Browns fans stunned. Because this isn't just about stats anymore, it's about trust. When a head coach builds his entire philosophy around discipline, accountability, and cutting out mental mistakes, and a young quarterback shows up already working on the exact traits that coach values, that builds credibility fast. In a quarterback room, in a locker room, in a building that has seen more instability at the position than almost any team in football. Players notice who's putting in the extra work. Coaches notice too. And right now, all eyes in Cleveland are on Shedeur Sanders. So here's where it all comes together. Todd Monken didn't hand Shedeur anything. He set almost impossible standards for this entire organization, for himself, for the roster, for the quarterback room. But instead of shrinking from that pressure, Shedeur has reportedly been out there adding tools to his game, tools his own coordinators specifically said he wants. Whether it shows up on Sundays is still the biggest question in Cleveland, but one thing is becoming impossible to ignore. The story written about Shedeur Sanders a year ago is not the same story being written right now. Whether you love Shedeur Sanders or you're still doubting him, one thing is becoming impossible to deny. Every time they try to write him off, he keeps giving people a reason to believe. And in a league that moves on from young quarterbacks the second things get hard, that may be the most dangerous thing of all. If this broke down something you needed to hear, smash that subscribe button right now, because this Shedeur Sanders story is just getting started, and you do not want to miss what happens next. Drop a comment. Tell us if you think Shedeur proves everybody wrong this season. Hit that bell, stay locked in, because we'll be right here when the next chapter drops.